All right, so let's tackle a huge question today. How do you actually carve out your very own private, secure little corner inside the absolutely gigantic world of the Amazon Web Services cloud? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. Just think about this for a second. The cloud, by its nature, is this massive, shared public thing. So, how in the world do you build the equivalent of a secure corporate office, with its own locked doors, your own rules, your own security guards, right in the middle of it all? And that, right there, is the challenge we're going to solve.
And the answer is the Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, or VPC for short. This is the key. It's your own little slice of the AWS cloud, logically walled off from everyone else. The best way to think about it is like being handed the deed to your own plot of land in a bustling cloud city. It's all yours, and it's the spot where you're going to build your entire virtual data center.
Okay, so we've got our plot of land. Let's grab our hard hats and start laying the foundation for this virtual office building and see how the first few pieces really fit together. So first things first, you've got to put up the main exterior walls. When you define your VPC, you're basically drawing the property lines in the sand. You're setting that outer boundary and saying, hey, everything inside this space right here, it's mine and it plays by my rules.
Now, you wouldn't just have one single giant empty warehouse, would you? Of course not. You'd want to partition it, create different rooms for different things. Well, that's exactly where subnets come in. Think of them as creating the individual floors, or different departments, or even specific, highly secure rooms inside your office building to keep everything nice and organized.
And to get just a little technical for a second, a subnet is really just a range of IP addresses. But you can just think of them as room numbers inside your larger building. This is where you actually place your stuff, your servers, your databases, all that cloud furniture into those specific, organized rooms that you've just created.
Okay, so our building has rooms. That's great. But how does data know how to get from, say, the mailroom to the marketing department on the 10th floor? We're going to need a GPS. Well, that GPS for your virtual network, it's called a route table. And here's the important part. Every single subnet, every single room has to have a route table. It's basically a simple list of rules that acts like a building directory or a map, telling all the network traffic exactly where it needs to go. And check this out, this shows you just how clear and simple those rules are. If some data is trying to get to the public internet, that's that 0.0.0.0/0 thing, it just means anywhere else, the rule sends it to the internet gateway. That's our building's main front door. But if the traffic is just going to another room inside our own building, it stays local. Super simple, clear directions. All right, so our internal layout is all set up. But a building isn't very useful if it's completely sealed off from the rest of the world, right? Now we need to add some doors. And really, we have two main ways to do this. First up is the internet gateway. That's the big public front door we just talked about, letting traffic come and go from the internet. But then there's a much more private connection, a site-to-site VPN. I want you to think of this as a secure, private, covered walkway that connects your new cloud office directly back to your physical company headquarters. This quote from the source material really hits the nail on the head. A VPN does way more than just connect two places. It's all about making the AWS cloud an extension of your data center. That means your cloud stuff can securely and seamlessly act like it's just in the server room right next door. It's incredibly powerful. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like a ton of construction work, like you have to be a master architect. But here's the great thing. AWS gives you a choice. You can either move into a pre-built office or you can design your own from the ground up. So let's break it down. On the one hand, you've got the default VPC. This is your move-in ready option. It comes all set up with internet access included. It's fantastic for just getting started quickly. On the other hand, you have the non-default, or custom VPC. This is your build-from-scratch blueprint. It starts out completely secure and totally isolated, giving you absolute control over every single little detail. So if there's one thing to take away from this, it's this. Default VPCs are all about convenience. Non-default VPCs are all about control. It's basically the difference between leasing a standard office space and hiring an architect to custom build your dream headquarters from scratch. But here's the real secret sauce. How does AWS keep all this traffic so private and secure, especially on a global scale? This quote right here reveals the magic behind it all. It's the AWS Private Global Network.
This means that any traffic between your AWS resources, even if they're on opposite sides of the planet, stays on Amazon's own private fiber. It never touches the public internet.
And just how good is that private network? Well, AWS engineers it to have an hourly packet loss target of less than 0.0001%. I mean, just think about that. That is an absolutely insane level of reliability. And make sure your data is not only private and secure, but that it also gets exactly where it needs to go, pretty much every single time.
So, there you have it. The VPC gives you the property. Subnets give you the rooms. Route tables give you the directions, and gateways are the doors. You can choose a super convenient move-in-ready setup, or you can take total control with a custom build, all running on one of the most reliable private networks on the entire planet. The only question left is, now that you have the blueprint, what are you going to build?